and we are live. So I think now is a good time to get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Alyssa Johnson. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am a residence hall director at Southern Connecticut State University, which means that I run one of our residence halls, one of our first year residence halls, Wilkinson Hall, and I have some lovely residents on this call with me right now. And I supervise the residence life staff that works in that building, and we just work to create a really great community. So I will kick it off, and we'll just start introducing all of our student panelists.
Yeah, how's everyone doing? My name's Alexander Grant. I'm a sophomore on campus. I go by he, him, his. I don't know, a few positions. I guess I work with RHA. Basically put on events for residents, and I'm also a resident advisor in Hickerson Hall, another one of our first year buildings.
So that means that's me next. Hi, everyone. I'm Barit. I'm a freshman here in Wilkinson Hall at Southern Connecticut State University. My pronouns goes as she, her, hers. And a position that I hold is I am also president of Wilkinson Hall.
Hello, my name is Majesty Moore, and I am also a resident at Wilkinson Hall. I am a freshman, and I go by she, her, hers, and I recently just got the position as student ambassador in the admissions office, so yeah.
All right, so now that we've done some introductions, we are going to go over a few questions just to get you introduced to living on campus, what that's like for our students, and to hear a little bit about all of the different programming and resources and involvement opportunities that we have, as well as just to acclimate you to what it's like in that everyday residential student experience. And so the first question that I have for our panelists is just what made you choose Southern Connecticut State? And going off of that, what made you decide to live on campus?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess. One thing that made me choose Southern Connecticut State University is because I had family go here and they talk such great things about Southern. And I was like, I got to see what the hype is about. I got to see what it is. I also liked how they had, it was very diverse, and also how it had athletic teams. And also I liked the nursing program. I really want to get in. So I know that they have a really good nursing program. So that is what made me come here. Also, what made me live on campus is because I need to get away from home. I need to learn how to be independent. So that was why I chose to live on campus. And I felt like I wanted the college experience as a freshman.
Yeah, going off of what Breet said, I chose Southern because it's pretty close from home. I live in Manchester, so it's about 45 minutes to an hour away. So it's far away enough that I don't have to see family a lot, but they can still come whenever they want. I chose Southern because it was good financially, and also I got into the nursing program here, so I was really happy about that. And I decided to live on campus because I just felt like I needed my own space away from home to just really focus on studying. I feel like living on campus gives you the opportunity to just go to the library whenever you want, or go to the student center whenever you want, and focus on academics instead of with home, there's so much going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of choosing Southern, I was definitely seeking diversity. The high school I went to, there were I think I was one of two Black kids that went there, so it was definitely not the most diverse place. So coming to Southern Social Justice Institution, it was really a fantastic opportunity, as well as the leadership options as well. But living on campus, it definitely was a decision that hopefully my parents don't watch this, but getting away from my parents, it's definitely really nice to have that independent feel. Even learn to work with a roommate, because not a lot of people have been in that situation until they go to school. So it's a really great opportunity in terms of that, and that was a big deciding factor in terms of living on campus, just being able to be independent. I saw a question too. I don't know if I can answer it. That's all right. But it was regarding if you're shy, does living on campus still help? I think so. Honestly, it's hard to say, but in a lack of better terms, it really forces you out of your shell in a way. I was definitely shy I did not talk as much as I did in high school, where I was a lot more comfortable. But meeting people, you have to live with a roommate, it really forces you out of your shell. So I think living on campus definitely helps, even if you're shy.
Yeah, going off of what the question, I was really shy when I first came here. My first semester, it was really hard for me to get out of my shell. I honestly stayed like majority in my room, but Res Life has really good opportunities for different programs and different activities. Even though it is during COVID, they have really good opportunities to meet new people, like play games, and yeah. So Southern really gives you the opportunity to come out of your shell and meet new people, which is great.
And to also add on to that, I think that when you come here, it's really all that you make of it. So if you want to stay in your room and, seclude yourself, I think that it's better when you branch out, get yourself into more programs, and then you just go from there. Just take it baby steps. To start by talking to your roommate, start by talking to people on your floor. It just take baby steps, but make it an effort that you want to burst out of your shell.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that question, and to all of our panelists for answering it. I think the one thing that you don't always realize is that you have an RA that is housed and staffed on your floor, who is there to help you if you're feeling shy, to get those introductory programs out there and to help start managing and facilitating some of that relationship building you'll be able to do. So thank you so much for that question. If others have questions, please feel free to use the submission box. We want to hear what you want to know. We have a few questions prepared, but we want to make this experience and this panel as beneficial to you all as possible, as future owls. So our next question is, how have you gotten involved since living on campus?
I know for me, I got involved because I'm really into theater. So I did the shows last semester. I did both shows last semester, and that was a really good way of meeting new people. I also took an acting class last semester, and because of that, I met one of my favorite professors now at Southern. And yeah, I was really happy that I got involved in that way. Also, just talking to people, like going to different programs, joining clubs. Like I'm in the Caribbean, like CSA, which is for Caribbean students on campus, which is like really good to talk to different Caribbean students and see their perspective on things. So yeah, that's how I've gotten involved.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I won't go through every single thing I've gotten involved in since coming to campus. I've definitely tried a lot of different things. One of the benefits of being at Southern is you have that ability. But I'll talk about the most beneficial things I'm a part of now. So firstly, being a resident advisor. Alyssa mentioned it, but I'm able to help a lot of first-year students, especially because I'm in a first-year building. Pretty much just test out the waters at Southern. I think when I was a freshman, resident advisors were really friendly and very helpful to me. So now I decided to take on that position as well and be able to provide the same experience for first year students. Obviously, there's some requirements and different things that involve being able to apply for that position. But if you were to come to Southern, you would absolutely have that opportunity, as every student does. But I also did hall council when I was a first year student. I did that. Which is another first year building, but it was a really great experience. It's very, it really allows you to meet other residents and kind of force you to have to talk with other residents. It's really great. You just put on pretty much events for your hall. It could be really fun things, karaoke, game nights. It's a really simple thing. You have hall directors that will help you with that as well. But those are some of the most influential positions for me that kind of helped me break out of my shell and, really make Southern feel like home.
As for me, as I mentioned that I'm president of Wilk, joining hall council was definitely out of my bubble. I had the characteristics, but it's just scary for me to be in hold a high position. So, but I learned so much from when I started to now. As Alex said, you really are forced to talk to people that you've never talked to. You get put on events and you just want the events to go on nicely. It was a lot, but I love everything about being a president of Wilk, and it makes me you learn every meeting, every day. You learn more about talking to people. You learn more about what you want to get involved in, and also I'm in ASA, which is African Student Association. So it's nice to talk to other people, and I'm just really just bursting my bubble by talking to many different people of different kinds. So
Great, thank you. And we have another question submitted from the audience. So, what was the biggest challenge from transitioning to high school and living at home to moving on campus?
I might end up answering this multiple times, but I think one of the biggest challenges was uh, realizing that your parents are not really around, and you can't just go into the next room and ask your dad, mother, grandfather, grandmother for help. Uh, it's it's not that you have a very different experience when you're speaking to RAs and speaking to hall directors, but obviously it's very different from speaking to a family member. So it's really weird to kind of build that relationship where you can always go to your RA and always go to your hall director. Because if you're shy, like you're shy. It's something we all experience at some point. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge in terms of living on campus. Kind of making it yourself know that it's okay and comfortable to be able to go to this person and ask about any question. So
uh,
Yeah. Oh, go
you,
ahead.
you go.
Oh yeah, like for me, transitioning from high school to college was really hard, and like the self-care was really important. And I definitely learned this semester that I have to be prominent with what I'm doing and making sure I'm turning in all my assignments on time and not waiting last minute. Because if you do it in high school, it's just gonna transfer over to here, and it's not going to be any different if you still have those same bad habits. So making sure like those habits kind of dwindle away as time goes on, because it's not going to happen overnight, and really asking for help. Like my RA, I've asked her for so much help. She's been a great resource for me. So asking for help when you need it, and really taking care of yourself, like making sure you're eating 3 times a week, drinking water, take like just overall thinking about yourself is really important, which was really hard to learn from high school to college.
Yeah, to piggyback off what they both said, I think my biggest transition was two things, like the independent part, because I'm a daddy's girl, so I call my dad for everything. So being here, he doesn't really understand because I am a first generation, so he doesn't really know too much about what's going on here. So yeah, so that was my thing. I had to really learn, like, okay, Bree, you need to make time management skills, what you want to do from this hour to this hour. You really got to move and work with your schedule, and also making your own schedule. That was my biggest challenge, because in high school, my person did that for me. They did it for me. But here, you're making your own schedule. You're making your own times. It's different. Like, you have to really move it, to maneuver it, to work with your time. So that was probably my biggest challenge living on campus, the transition.
Awesome. And Alex can speak a little bit to the pre-COVID experience, because he was a residential student prior to COVID. And our two first years, Bereed and Majesty, can speak to what that experience has looked like moving onto campus when we are in COVID precautions. So my next question is, what are some of the fun things that you've been able to do on campus, both prior to and during COVID?
yeah, I think maybe I'll start with like some of the pre-COVID stuff, and I'll kind of cover that. So yeah, pre-COVID, there are definitely it's just so different. So I think pre-COVID, there's a lot of things going on campus pretty much all the time. We have an academic quad that's kind of outside our library. It's just like this big sprawling space with a couple patches of grass and a bunch of field area, and usually there's things going on all the time there, as well as the Res Life quad, which is the quad that's in kind of in the middle, surrounded by all the residence halls. So I think in terms, I won't go into specifics about every single event that happened, but there's usually so many festivals going on where there's free food. You literally are walking by and people are offering to give you free stuff, whether that be shirts. Many times it's shirts, but also sometimes food as well. So that's also fun. But yeah, we have events like Fall Fest where we do a lot of different things in the fall. We try to have more fall related stuff, apple cider, things like that. And yeah, so it's just a ton of events. You hear music all the time. It's sometimes a little harder to take a nap during the hot hours of the events, but it's a really great experience pre-COVID.
Like I said before, I was really into theater. So I was really happy that I got to continue that, even though it was during COVID. One of them was in person and one of them was online, but both of them were really fun for me because just like doing something that I enjoy, doing something that I love that was canceled in high school, but I got to keep doing it in college was really important to me, especially when you have so many classes and things are stressful. It was really important for me to be able to do something that I love. And also, Southern does a really good job just doing their best to have different little programs and events, even though it was during COVID. Like for October last semester, they had little trick or treat stations that were cute, and they had like a truck for different foods and like fried dough, and that was really cute. And like they still have sometimes they give out different shirts, or they might have little stations outside to give out things, which is really nice. So yeah.
As Majesty said, Southern does a great job of still putting on events. And I promise you, me and my friends don't miss one event. We are there. Student involvement, RHA, they host events and you win free prizes. And we really just make the best of what we have. You know what I'm saying? So, and I enjoy it, honestly, because I don't know what it was before. So this is my experience now, and I'm loving everything about being here. Maybe there could have been different things, but as far as right now, I'm grateful for the experience that I've been having because I made the best of what I had.
Yeah, and going off of what Breet said, I think you really learn to appreciate like even the small things, like even if it's just hang out with your friends in the library or being to talk to each other in the lobby or anything like that. I think you really appreciate like just interacting and laughing, and that honestly is fun for me. Just to be able to just have a chill time. It doesn't have to be always like active. Like just being able to talk and have your friends around is a really good time.
Awesome. And so we have another question from the audience, and it is about the kind of makeup of the campus and our residence halls. So while we do that, I will also switch to a new slide so you can see a little bit about the amenities of living on campus, things found in our buildings and such. But about how long does it take to get from your residence hall to class on campus? And you can even answer to get to the dining hall and other spaces on campus. What does that commute look like for you all?
Um, um, it's less than 10 minutes, but from like the library and it's cold out, it seems like forever. So, but it's less than 10 minutes if you walk fast. It's not that long. I will give it about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes from my hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like I guess it depends where you live because like one of the farther places on campus is north. So going from north to like all the way to the other side of campus can take longer than going from one of the halls to the student center or the dining hall. But like Marie said, it kind of just takes 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, depending where you are. It's really not that bad. That's like also one of the reasons why I chose Southern. It's definitely a smaller campus. I know there's some other campuses that need like maybe shuttles to get around class, which I'm very happy that we don't need, that we can just have like a little walk and it's fine. Yeah, it's a smaller campus, so it's nothing like a trek that you have to go through in order to get to class.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I'll just add if you skate or you use a bike, scooter, you really can get to pretty much anywhere on campus in under 10 minutes. Absolutely. So
Yes, and right outside of all of our residence halls, we typically have bike racks and other things for you to keep your equipment safe. Another question that was submitted from the audience is, do we have specific housing arrangements for transfer students and programs for transfer students? I do know that there are offices dedicated to doing work to support transfer students. And yes, we do have some themed housing for transfer students on campus. That's a niche population and you're adjusting to the university while maybe not adjusting to your first few college courses. So we do have communities designated for transfer students so people can find each other, find community, and also find tailored support from students and staff trained and having similar experiences to other transfer students. So thank you so much for those questions. Keep the questions rolling in. What is your favorite study spot on campus?
For me, it's the library. 100%. I love going to the library because there's like spots where you can have different study rooms where you can just book them online and you get that space to yourself. Or if you want to study with friends, then they have tables for that. Absolutely love the library. Yeah, that's my favorite place.
Definitely agree with Majesty because they have these big windows. I choose a spot where they have the big windows. You can see the cars driving by. So I enjoy the library. And also when it gets warm out, the library has these benches right outside of the library. Super nice, super peaceful. So I like to sit there and outside.
Yeah, during I'll kind of talk more about during my first year because I feel like that's when I was utilizing a lot of the study spaces and kind of bouncing around trying to find my favorites. So the ones actually inside the residence halls I thought were fantastic. Not every single residence hall's study space is the same, but at least in the first year buildings, it's pretty accurate and similar. It's literally just a quiet room with some cushion chairs, some obviously round tables for you to study, and it was great because there was one in each floor when I was living in Neff Hall. But there's also like this fireplace area in Adante Student Center, which is pretty awesome too, and has a very nice view of the academic quad. So I love going there and use that to procrastinate by just looking at the view at sometimes. So it's a really good spot. I don't know if should we just jump right into the next question too? I don't know.
Yeah, the next question is, how did you find your roommate? Was it were they random? Did you know them before? Did you meet them at orientation? What was your process?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a few options because on the if you when you get acclimated and everything, there's a housing portal where pretty much everything housing is displayed there. But we have multiple ways to find residents. You can put in names. If you already know which resident you want to dorm with, you can put their name in and search for them and then match. I think there's also a lot of things. If you see the Facebook, a lot of people utilize those social media outlets to find roommates and kind of put their information out there. But there's also obviously you're able to do random. I did random and ended up finding out finding one of my best friends. So that's always an option too.
Yeah, for me, for my first semester, I didn't have a roommate. I wanted someone completely random, but they never showed up. So that can happen sometimes. And then for my second semester, I also wanted to do something random, and my roommate came within like a few weeks of the semester, and now like I absolutely love her. I'm very happy that she's my roommate. Like it can just work out that way that like you can find someone completely like awesome, even though it's just random. So yeah.
I found my roommate through a mutual friend, so I didn't meet her up until move-in day, I'm pretty sure it was. And we're best friends. We're soulmates. I'm stuck on that. So
I can attest, Barit's roommate comes to every single one of her hall council programs. The support is real. But another really great question is, did you ever feel lost when transitioning from high school to college?
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I definitely did because, it's college, college, college. Like this is like a real world. So I felt lost, but I felt lost because of how independent you become when you come here. But I had my RA help me. I had all of the resources around me kind of help me find my way. You know what I'm saying? So the resources really, really did help. I don't know where I'd be right now if I did not use my resources to help me find my way here. Because you can feel a little bit lost, but
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. Coming here, I didn't really come with anyone. I had my best friend, but then he decided to leave, so it was just kind of me by myself. And there was definitely a point where I was like, I don't like what's going on. Like I feel like everyone else like already has friends, and I feel like everybody else kind of already like set their ways in Southern. But honestly, like just talking to other students, that was not the case. Like everyone is also going through the same thing, and talking to other people, and especially talking to my RA, she really did help me find my fit, I guess, at Southern and finding my community. So yeah, you're definitely like there is a chance that you can be lost, but if you're asking for help and you find like the different resources that will help you, they will help you. Like that's their little job is to help you, and they will. So like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think definitely well said. So I'm gonna try not to repeat everything that you already heard. But yeah, I think the most important thing though is to understand that students, because yes, first of all, I did feel lost, but I think the important thing is to understand is that a lot of students feel the same exact way. I think when a lot of these things happen, we feel these certain feelings, we kind of assume it's just us experiencing it. Um, but it's usually not the case. So if that's comforting, I hope it is, because a lot of students go through it. Your roommate, honestly, when you're first year, is probably going through the same exact thing. But Majesty put it fantastically. There are so many resources on campus that are literally dedicated to just helping students. Just like first years, sophomores, juniors, seniors feel lost. So whether that be you're lost academically, you don't know how to get involved in campus, you don't feel comfortable in your residence halls, there's literally a resource for all these different problems. So in short, I did feel lost, but when I utilized my resources, I definitely found my spot in Southern pretty quickly and felt a lot better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think the greatest thing about living on campus when we talk about these resources that is that you're located centrally to all of these resources. They are within a walk. Even sometimes they are in your building. That's a really great part of living on campus is that when you are struggling or when you're thriving, there are resources. There are resources, and there are people who will support you and cheer you on, and they're right there with you. So the next question that I have is one that we created prior to, and it's because this term resident advisor and the abbreviation RA have come up frequently. So for the RA on the call, can you tell us what is an RA? What is a resident advisor? What do you do, and how do you support residents?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, RA, resident advisor, same thing. But it's pretty much just a resource for the residents in the residence halls, to put it simply. So, we put on programs for residents. We obviously make sure they're having a good time in the residence hall, but we also make sure they're being safe. We make sure they feel safe and that they feel comfortable emotionally, mentally, and physically, obviously. So in terms of my own experiences, I have residents come up to me talking about, a soccer game. But then I also have residents come up to me saying, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable in this class, or I don't feel comfortable in this room. I'm not doing so well in a class. What can I do to help myself, or can you help me?" And that's a big part of the job. It's just making sure people are doing well, again, whether that be in the residence halls, academically. So I think, to put it in short, we just, our resources at residents. And of course, like I said, again, we do a lot of different programs as well in the halls. We kind of partner with Hall Council as well. So we always make sure there's, events going on inside the campus. So yeah.
Great. And then a question for everyone is, are there in-person classes right now, or is everything online, or is it a mix of both? And also, how has your residence hall supported you academically this semester?
Um, yeah, not all classes are online. There are definitely some classes that are in person. There are even some classes that do hybrid, that you can choose to be online, you can choose to be in person, have it both ways. And I know for me, only online, my only in-person classes were my theater classes. So like that was kind of fun. And yeah, I definitely, like, when I called to change my schedule a little bit when I was a freshman, they were like asking me if I wanted in person or online. And I did want an in person class, and they try to have that happen for me, because having all online could be kind of stressful for someone, especially transitioning from high school into college. So having that one on in person class was really helpful for me, and they did help me with that.
As far as I know, next semester we're going like 70% on campus on ground, and some in person, and then I mean some online, and also some async classes. So async is like completely online, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah. So to answer in short, it's definitely a mix of both. A lot of it depends on how comfortable the professor is, for many of the decisions in terms of it being in person and online. But with a lot of the vaccinations coming out, and us, doing this for a long time now, a lot more professors are becoming comfortable, and obviously, as mentioned, Southern's pushing to just have more in-person classes in general. So right now, it's definitely a mix of both, but we're definitely going to see next semester that it's going to be, it's still a mix of both, but definitely more in person than online. So the option is still there if you're comfortable doing online. But we know, obviously, a lot of students enjoy in person. Myself, I enjoy in person as well. So it's definitely going to be more of an option.
Great. And we did have a question about when and how you can select a room and a roommate on campus. So I can give you a little bit of a preview into our schedule. So we have a rolling deposit, meaning that you can sign up and pay your $250 housing deposit at any time. And then once you do that, we will start roommate matching April 12th, and that will go until June 13th. And then room selection will go from June 17th and 18th. So once you sign up, you pay your deposit, we'll start contacting you via email, letting you know that these deadlines are happening, giving you instructions on how to access the system and make those selections. So it's a very user-friendly process. So another question that we have is, how has Residence Life supported you as a resident of color?
Well, sorry.
I just want to bring up that last semester we did have a Black Lives Matter march, and that was like so great because so many people showed out, so many people spoke, and it was just like, it was really an eye opener. I really did feel at home, if that makes sense. I felt like I belonged here, and it didn't, because I did come from a less diverse high school. So it felt nice to come here and seeing people that look like me and seeing people that look all across the board. So
Yeah, I was really, really happy to see that when I first came, my RA was a Black female, because like then I knew like I can just be comfortable and I can like just I can have conversations with her and tell her things, and we can have shared experiences because she's a Black female, and I won't have to feel uncomfortable or anything like that. And even if you do have another RA that is not of your same race or ethnicity, but you do want to talk to someone who is, like, usually a lot of times the building have different diverse RAs or DAs, and you can talk to them whenever you need to because they're there for you. Remember that? So yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of how Res Life supports it, it's when looking at RA training, a lot of it involves do you understand what diversity actually means? Do you understand what social justice actually means? And how you're going to implement it into your position. So those three questions are pretty much asked to every single RA. Maybe not exactly worded like that, but in some format, it involves social justice. So pretty much in terms of Res Life supporting me as a student of color, it made me feel a lot comfortable in knowing that I'm walking into a role that it's not pushed to the side and that it's kind of the forefront of the position. Obviously they're not going to be like, oh, it's everything, but it's a very, very large majority of the position. So in terms of how Res Life supports that, that's one of the big ways I notice, as well as, the examples we also mentioned.
Awesome. And on this note of support, we talked about RHA a little bit as the governing body for residential students, and we've talked about RAs. How have those two groups or individuals supported you as residential students? What have they done that has improved your experience or supported you through your experience?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna have a little bit of bias because I'm president of RHA currently, and I've done different positions in the past. But for me specifically, I think it's given me a lot of leadership opportunities and kind of put me in a position to challenge myself. But obviously, I kind of want to talk about it not from just being a part of the e-board, because not everyone has to be in a leadership position for these outlets to support you. Just being a resident that was just going to events at first, it was just something to do. And I think sometimes it's underrated, supporting students in the essence of just keeping students from not being bored. I think not having things to do on campus is, we've experienced it during COVID. It's really rough. So I think in terms of RHA and RAs, they both put on events constantly throughout the week. So, just giving me something to do and also allowing me to meet new people by coming to the events has been a really big support system for me.
I think also like having those, like the RHA and RAs, mainly like student led, that you're hearing from different students and decisions are being made by other students, really makes me feel more comfortable that the people who are actually going through what I'm going through are making decisions and are having a say of what's going on is really important for me. And also like with the RAs, they're so open, and with Res Life, they're so open to for us to know that they are there for us and that we can speak out to them. And if we need a resource, if we need help, there is no hesitation that they will help you or they will lead you to someone who will help you. And that openness is very important for me.
Well, they covered pretty much everything, but yeah, just going to the events and seeing people that look like you. I know as far as like RHA e-board, it's just so diverse. It's not just one color. It's you're seeing everyone from everywhere, and going to these events and seeing people that look like you, as I said, it just makes you so much more, it makes you feel so much more comfortable, like you belong. So.
All right. And so we know that residential students do purchase meal plans on campus. So tell us about the first year meal plan and tell us about how the food is on campus and maybe even where your favorite place to eat is.
Yeah.
We always, it's okay, you can go.
Yeah, no, I know for me, for my first year, and since I lived on campus, I had the unlimited plan. So for Connecticut Hall, which is like the main dining hall on campus, you have unlimited swipes, so you can go in there like as many times as you want. And then at the student center, which is honestly my favorite place to eat, you have 2 swipes for anywhere meals. So there's specific things you can get at the student centers for those meal swipes, and then after that, you can pay. You can use your food loot, which is in the start of the semester, you have $150, which is paid through your bill for your food loot, and you can use it at Roberta's, which is a grocery store in North Campus, or you can use it at Dunkin', or yeah. So there's that, and the food is honestly not bad. Like I can't complain. And I really like the student center's food too. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's Kana, as she said. What was the question again?
Tell us about the food on campus.
Okay, yes. There's Con and Stew. There used to be Starbucks, but I'm pretty sure it's coming back, but don't quote me. My favorite place to eat is Stew. I also stop by Con with my friends. It's super nice to sit there and talk to your friends and have dinner.
Yeah, so I know we already talked about the first year plans a lot, so I'll mention some stuff too. Even if coming years when you're sophomore, junior, senior, things like that. There's a lot of different options as you kind of go up in years. So obviously, the first year you get the unlimited plan, but as soon as you become a sophomore, you have a lot more options. So there's obviously different housing options. So if you're living in somewhere with a kitchen, you're obviously not going to be forced to have a meal plan. So I always enjoyed that because that was kind of the route I took when I became a sophomore. I picked the lowest meal plan, so I still gave myself a few swipes, so I could still go to the dining halls we talked about, Stew, Con, because they do have great food, but it also gives you the option to cook and do what you want in terms of making yourself food. So that I really enjoyed, but definitely as a first year, I enjoy Con because Con is very often switching up what they have there, and we just switched the I don't know how to say it. We just switched the company we're working with for food. And speaking with all the staff there, they're very nice and kind, and they're pretty inclusive. So it's really great there.
Yeah, and also there are different places in the community that you can get food, that you can also even use your Hoot Loot, which is money that you can put on your card in these community areas. Like there's a really popular place called Pizza Heaven, which is really close on campus, which I know I go there a lot. So yeah, and then like there's convenience stores that you can use your Hoot Loot, and like you might even have like more money to get your food. Yeah, so it's good.
Also, to add on, the people at Con are super nice, and I've gained relationships with them. And it's just so nice going there and seeing their smiles and knowing that they're putting care into the food that they're giving us.
Awesome. So tell us about some of the residence hall room necessities that you think students should come prepared with to make themselves comfortable in their rooms at Southern.
Definitely a fan. Because buildings do get warm. Pretty much happens at every most universities. Definitely a fan. Obviously, this might change up because there are some options in terms of first year housing options where you do have air conditioning. But I would recommend a fan as like the number one thing for me.
For me, there's so many things that over time I realized that I needed, like a broom. Like I didn't think I was gonna need a broom for some reason, but I got a broom, and also having pots to cook because even like the freshman halls, they even have a kitchen. Like they have one stove, and they have like the four stove with an oven. Like you can cook and get your foods and cook there. So having pots or tin foils or utensils is really important. Like he said, the fan was really important. And yeah.
For me, the first thing that comes to my mind after what they said is probably a stool, because I'm not too short, but I'm average height and it takes some time getting up there. So stool to get up there is probably what I use like every single day.
Awesome. And how long did it take for you to get comfortable on campus once you moved in?
I think mine was like, I don't know, I get comfortable pretty fast. Mine was like 2 weeks probably just to get into the hang of it. And I think what made me feel comfortable is the way I like, this is gonna sound weird, the way I decorated my room. It just made me feel at home with the pictures and all of that stuff. It just made me feel at home with my pictures and the way I decorated it. It just made me feel like I want to be at my dorm. So probably 2 weeks, and yeah.
I'm trying to think about, because there's very specific events for me where like it made me a lot more comfortable. For example, when I started hall council. But I'll say kind of similar range with Brie, 2 weeks to a month. Uh, and it might sound long to some people, or it might sound like a short amount of time. That's because it's really different for everyone. I don't want everyone expecting to feel immediately comfortable after 2 weeks like Brie, or to feel immediately comfortable after 1 month like me. You might feel comfortable after the first day. So. It definitely comes in spells, and it also depends on how you go after it. Like Fareed says, I think when you finish decorating your room for the first time and you kind of get everything situated in your room, for some people that immediately makes them feel more comfortable. For me, it was a very similar feeling. Once I was done kind of arranging everything, and my mom was finally gone, didn't have to hear her yelling at me 24/7 to do certain things and start sweeping. It was really great. So it definitely it varies, but yeah, similar range.
Yeah, I think for me, it took a little bit longer. I think like the first semester was when I was like trying to figure everything out. And then when I came back, it felt like just coming back home. So that's when I felt more comfortable because like I saw similar people. I saw my RAs. Like I missed like I actually like I really missed my bed. Like when I went in it for the first time the second semester, I was like, thank God that I'm here. And I think that's when I felt comfortable. It was like absence make the heart grow fonder. So me leaving and then coming back just made me like feel comfortable being here.
Great. So another question is related to jobs on campus. So are there positions available on campus for first year students? Do you have a position? Do you know of someone who has a position? And yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I started working at the library when I was the first year. Um, and I was just working at the desk and answering questions and doing that. But yeah, we have a jobs portal, and it pretty much shows a bunch of jobs and all the different offices looking for jobs on campus. But it's definitely available. Obviously, it may be a little harder to kind of do that as you're kind of figuring out classes and things like that. But it's definitely an option. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know a good portion of my friends have jobs. I personally didn't take a job because I wanted to see how college life was at first, how I can juggle the two things, but they're juggling it pretty well. I know two of my friends work at the library and another one of my friends work at the multicultural center. So,
Yeah, no, like same for me. I think I took the first semester just to figure everything out. But for my second semester, I was really applying for jobs. And then, like I said, I heard from admissions, I was really happy about. If you have a certain amount of credits, you can also try to become an RA. You can apply to be a DA, which this is a desk assistant. You can work at the food pantry. You can work at the student center, the multicultural club, like Barit mentioned. So yeah, I was really happy that Southern had a lot of opportunities for on-campus jobs and positions, or even work studies.
Great. A question that did come through the chat is, are freshmen allowed to have cars? So the answer is yes. Do any of you have cars on campus? And can you talk to us about that process?
I do. And it was pretty, and you don't need to pay for a parking pass, which I was actually happy to hear about. And it was actually like it took like a day for me to get my parking pass. When I first moved in, I think it was waiting for me in an envelope, or you just submit it onto like the police security website. I don't know the website off the top of my head, but yeah, you just get a parking pass. They give it to you at the front desk, and you just put it on your car, and you are good to go. And you can park anywhere, so except for like the other parking spots, but you'll see that.
Great. So keep sending questions in the chat if you have them. We would love to answer as many as we can. Another question that we have is, what is something that you wish you knew when you were an admitted student thinking about living on campus?
I wish I knew that, like, you don't have to be embarrassed. I feel like I said this so many times already, but like, ask for help, like, honestly, because I would just think that, like, oh, you guys don't want to deal with my problems. Like, no, like, res life and RA, like, that's what they're there for. They're there to help people. They're there to make sure that you're comfortable in this space in a college setting, because it is different and it is hard. There's so many stigmas and like miscommunications about what college is really about, and that's why there are resources to help you. So just ask for help. Like, it's okay to ask for help, whatever you need. So I really wish somebody told me that. And get a broom for your dorm. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it was just what we wish we knew, right? Okay, yeah. I really wish I knew what my strengths were going into college, and maybe not so much as that, but to not deny my strengths and kind of make sure I was keeping aware of that. I think that, similar to what Majesty said, there's a lot of stereotypes and stigmas that come with college, and I feel like that makes us forget kind of who we truly are. So I think once I started embracing like the strengths that I've had since high school, I felt a lot more comfortable. For me specifically, it was, going after leadership positions and trying to put myself in those positions. And once I was able to do that, I felt a lot more comfortable. So whether that's, acting, music, pretty much just not forgetting that. It's definitely not like high school where, you have to like try to be friends with the cool kids, or you have to be friends with this group. It's really just, you can go after whatever you're interested in, and then you'll kind of just find your place and find your group doing that.
I wish I knew how important like mental health and self-care was, because you can really burn yourself out here if you just keep going, keep going, keep going. So I take it to account this semester to take time off, away from work, away from everything, and just watch a movie, sit down, take a nap, take a break for just a second.
Great. And what misconceptions did you have about living on campus before you got here?
That the bathrooms were going to be dirty. I thought I was prepared for the worst with the bathrooms. I was just bracing, but I came, and the cleaning ladies do a really, really good job of cleaning the bathroom every morning. I see them here. So that was probably one thing that I thought, but it turned out to be the best.
I guess my what I thought going into living on campus as a first year was that the RAs were going to pretty much be like the police, but inside of, your residence halls. It's definitely not like that. They're obviously there to enforce policies and things like that, but it's much more of a partnership and friendship than it is, them telling you what to do, or them making sure you do this. So I wish I knew that at first, because I'm definitely friends with a lot of RAs now. Of course, now being one, it helps too. But I wish I knew that as a first year, because my first few months, I was very afraid of my RAs until they were like, "Why are you acting like this?" And I'm like, I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same exact thing. I really thought RAs were gonna be like this police. Like, I thought they were gonna regulate every single thing we did. But like, honestly, like, they are there to make sure you follow the rules. And but of course, if you're following the rules and everything, then it's all fine. Like, you can talk to them like they're normal people, because they are normal people. I actually see like a lot of the RAs as my friends, so like I was really happy about that.
And just to add on to it too, I guess I wish I knew that they were like it. I wish I had the mindset of that they're also students. Like they're just like you too. So that helps a lot in terms of putting that in perspective.
Okay, so there's another question in the chat. How much free time do you have? And also, how do you fill your free time?
I have a lot of free time. Oops, sorry. I have a lot of free time, but it's how you work with what do you do with your free time? So free time, like I know I only have like 3 real classes and 2 of them are like one of them is async and the other one is online. So I have a lot of you get a lot of free time here, but for most of it, I spend a good time at the library and then I like to end off the night by taking a shower and watching a movie with my roommate and just winding down. Like I said, mental health is very, very important. So there's a lot of hours of free time. I know that I go like on my Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I only have one class from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. and the rest of the day is mine. So
Yeah, you get a lot of free time because in high school, there's like you have 8 class. At least for me, it was 8 classes, and then I had 6 classes a day, and then after that was actually like extracurricular activities and everything. So there wasn't a lot of free time. But then when you come here, you really learn about time management and how to manage your time because you do have a lot of free time, especially if you have asynchronous class, like Bree said, or you have online classes. For me, I have to use my time like studying, obviously, but then also winding down, relaxing, making sure I eat, making sure I sleep, even time to see family if you want to go home for the weekends or if they want to come and see you, explore around if this is a new area. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we're able to kind of provide like two contrasts. So for me, I actually don't have a lot of free time. Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm in and out of class, and if I'm out of a class, I'm usually going to a meeting. Only because I'm on SGA, I'm on RHA, I'm a resident advisor, so I like to be just really involved and really busy all the time. But obviously, there are periods of when I have free time, and there is periods of when I don't have anything to do. And as it's already been said, it's about how you use it, though. And I think that's also one of the beauties of Southern is that you can choose to be really, really busy. If you want to be going to meetings, going to classes, you have that option. But if you want to take a few classes, take it easy your first year, and have a lot of free time, able to have a lot of time to work on yourself, you have those options. But in terms of how I use my free time, I play quite a bit of video games, but I also study as well. So I try to balance that. And if I'm not doing either of those things, I'm probably out and about, seeing a movie or something. So.
Awesome. And would you say professors are different than high school teachers?
I would say yes. I say yes because I know in high school I was like really known with my teachers. I was close with them. And here it's like different because you'll have one professor that just doesn't know your name at all, or you will have a professor that you're close to and they're helping you out. So I would say that it's different and it's like more lecture style in college. Most of my classes are lecture style, which is very different from what I was dealing with in high school. So that was what I have to say.
I remember in high school, they used to always say that professors are not going to help you and that you're on your own, which is just not the case. At least for me, or at least for Southern, it's just not the case. Like, I have a really good relationship with some of my professors. Some of them I don't even really know, and they probably don't know my name, but some of them I have a really good relationship with. And if you reach out and ask for help, then they're going to help you. And I feel like, so answering the question, is it different from high school? I don't think I would say it's different because there's some teachers that you're cool with and there's some teachers that you are not cool with. And that's kind of the same with professors. But at the end of the day, I feel like they're all there to help you. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to echo what Majesty said as well. Definitely from middle school, I was told teachers in high school are going to be the worst thing on the planet. Every late assignment, you're basically going to fail the class. When I was in high school, I was told the same thing about professors in college. But I think in terms of if they're different or not, it really depends on how you choose your classes. If you're choosing classes with like 50, students in it, 40 students in it, then it's going to feel a lot different because you're going to obviously be in a lecture. But for me personally, like I try to choose classes with like a low amount of students, 20, 15, 25, because in those type of environments, it kind of feels similar to high school. And I'm also able to like create those relationships with professors like we've been talking about. So I think it can be different, but it can also feel pretty similar to high school, depending on how you want to work it. But I think in terms of like how strict professors are, at least at Southern, I think they're great. They work with you all the time. You just have to talk to them, and again, treat them like normal people. Similar agenda to with when you're speaking with RAs. I have times where I have to turn in a late assignment, and I email my teacher, and they're like, you know what, I thank you for contacting me. It's totally fine. So yeah.
I would also like to add that you get to choose your classes and your professors. So I use Rate My Professor. I like to go and see what people have said about this professor. I like to read all of them, the good and the bad, just to get a good overall review on what type of professor I'm going to have to deal with. So
Rate My Professors will be your best friend in college. I will say that. Yes.
Yes, we're using our resources. And somebody did ask a question about how many students are in your classes. I think it fluctuates, right? Like the type of class, how early you are in your career. At the beginning of your career, you may have some really large classes, and towards the end, when you get into your degree and start to narrow in on the program you're in, they may get a little bit smaller. So it can really fluctuate. Another question that we have, I would say it's our second to last question, is what is one word that you would just use to describe your experience as a Southern resident so far?
I think mine is between crazy and fun. I always like to smile and look back at the memories I have here at Southern. And I, me and my friends really just made the best of what we have. And it's just, we go through ups and downs, but we always try to, I think it's important of who you surround yourself with, because with me and my friends, we always just try to uplift one another and try to laugh it out and just talk about, what we're going through. And I just think that, and we like to do things like the events. I'm telling you, the events are the best thing ever. We just show up and we don't know what the game is. We don't know the instructions. We don't know anything, but we just show up just to show up. And we're like, we're going to get out today. We're going to get out today. We're not going to be sad. We're not going to stay in the dorm today. And I think that's what makes it fun, because we just try new things, new adventures. I think that's what college is all about, is trying new things, trying new games, new events, coming out of your shell. So I think that if I could describe it, it'd be crazy and fun. Those are two words, but it's been fun, crazy, because you're doing things that you never thought you would do before. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely say memorable. I won't take up too much time, so for Majesty. But yeah, definitely memorable. One of the greatest memories of being a first year student and living on campus was literally walking outside my room and hearing music from an event echoing off the residential building. So there's just so many different memorable things that you experience when you're a resident on campus. So yeah, definitely been my word.
Wow, this is hard. I think maybe for me, I would say relieving in a way, because in the beginning, like I was so scared. Like going in from high school to college, like I really thought like it was gonna be like in the movies where it's like gonna be a competition. You have to make sure you have so many friends. You have to do everything, and I was really scared. But coming to Southern, like it really was relieving to find out like it's normal. There's normal people. Like it's okay. You can talk to people. There's different clubs and organizations. There's 150 different clubs and organizations at Southern. You can find your people. You can find different events that you can go to that fit for you. And yeah, like I was really scared, but Southern really eased my anxiety with that.
All right. And then our final question was going to be about quick advice that we can give you as prospective residential students. But I think the best way to end here is to say that that advice is very attainable. All you have to do is reach out to us. You can visit us on our website, Inside Southern CT /Residence Life. You can email us at our Central Residence Life email, give us a call, reach out to residence hall directors specifically if you want to know more about specific buildings. But we're here to help. We want you to go into this experience knowing what you're up for and knowing that you're not alone, just as these three students have highlighted. So thank you so much for your time, and feel free to reach out. We can't wait to see you as Owls on campus with us. Thank you, and thank you to our panelists.
Thank you.